Welcome to Creator's Head Studio. I'm Tom Arku, feature film producer, director, screenwriter, and novelist.
And I'm John Colton, creator of ColtonComics.com and writer of Paul Bunyan versus Dracula.
We're going to talk about what Hollywood can learn or should learn. And the idea here is maybe it's a myth. Obviously, we know YouTube influencers get lots of clicks because they say that's broken, that's lousy, that's a mistake, all that kind of thing.
The key thing is apparently they need to learn how to read because
Okay.
all the reports that I've heard, nobody is reading scripts.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
they're hiring people to read the script for them
Mm-hmm.
and then tell them what it's about,
Okay.
or in some cases, read the script to them.
Okay.
And I think in any other business,
Mm-hmm.
it would be absolutely absurd
Right.
to think that, you are the CEO or the financer,
Mm-hmm.
the producer of this new product,
Right.
and you don't know what the product is. You have
Right.
someone describe the product to you.
Right.
At the essence, it's always a storytelling medium. And
Right.
I think, James Gunn hit it right when he said, the studios are too beholden to release dates. And the
Ah,
release dates, of course, are tied to quarterly earnings reports.
right. Sure.
Um, and they think they have to make a movie no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, I'm a writer at heart,
Yes.
and we're not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished.
There you are.
And
Exactly.
he had it in the right order. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, story. Number
Yes.
two, have a great screenplay.
Yes.
You don't know if you have a great screenplay if you didn't read it.
Okay. Gotcha. What we need to look at is how people are making decisions. Many executives make decisions so they can justify, well, I mean, based on everything that we know, this should have worked. Borderlands is a good intellectual property. Kevin Hart did well in Jumanji, and he makes millions of dollars running around the country, making people laugh. Hey, this is going to work. And we'll throw in some other people, Kate Blanchett, etc. And this is going to work. And of course, you can't make a good film without a good screenplay. It's apparently impossible, basically. So, as these decisions are being put together, a lot of people think of themselves as experts. And here's a challenge. As I was talking with people, very insightful people in my circle, I said this. I said, new variables can invalidate past experience. Let me share that again. New variables can invalidate past experience. So if we're making decisions on what constituted effective blockbusters 3 years ago, it may not line up. I mean, what we can do is we can test and see what people want. That's the other thing, too. What is your purpose? If the purpose is to get a movie out, reportedly, a version of the Justice League was slammed together so that executives could get their bonuses. I don't know if you caught that report there. That's not a purpose to make a product that's going to work and serve. First, what is our purpose to make this project? Secondly, what is the audience buying? I don't understand how so much money was put into Joker #2 when you're totally destroying whatever your big audience liked about the first film. I don't get that.
Right. In a lot of ways, getting that bonus obviously ended up being talking about Justice League now,
Mm-hmm.
ended up being a huge disappointment
Mm-hmm.
because you had a franchise
Mm-hmm.
that Justice League should have spawned six sequels,
Yeah, there you go.
with the first movie being a blockbuster,
Right. Right.
because Superman was a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
Batman has been a tremendous hit over the years, and
Yes.
Wonder Woman was a huge hit as well. So
Yes.
when you combine the three of them into one movie, you should have the biggest movie of all.
Right. I hear you.
And if you don't have a story, it really comes to, I think, underestimating word of mouth
Mm-hmm.
and just calculating into opening weekend,
Mm-hmm.
but not thinking about the weekends that follow.
Right.
And that's really the benefit of having a great story. People will
Yes.
tell their friends about it. They'll want to take their friends to go see the movie again or their family.
Right. So let's stop by at the idea of what makes a great story. Obviously, the first thing you need are great characters for your great story.
Well, I think a great story and also a plot that is interesting, and then great writing, great structure.
Right.
I was recently rewatching The Matrix,
Hmm.
and this is something, that's a big factor of mine
Hmm.
is rewatchability.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
when you watch, I remembered watching The Matrix for the second or third time,
Hmm.
and the line at the opening where the police sergeant is being chewed out for sending his men into the building,
Hmm.
and the agent is telling him, your orders were to locate her,
Hmm.
and and he's like, yeah, I think we can handle one girl,
Hmm.
and the agent tells the police sergeant, those orders were for your protection,
Right.
right? And once you understand who Trinity is,
Hmm.
because you're watching it for the second time, that line, that opening line
Hmm.
is so great because it gives the whole plot away.
Okay.
That the robots would want to protect these humans who are their batteries
Right.
from Trinity, and that Trinity is this powerful person. And so it's just great writing
Yes.
that resonates for years and years and years. And that's why, they're still talking about making more Matrix movies today,
Hmm.
because the franchise still has its fans.
Right. Right.
And that's the kind of cachet Justice League should have had.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, when we talk about good writing too, though, is you need someone who actually has an ear for dialogue. You know, when we're working on dialogue in one of our screenplays, we will go, ah, that's it. And we will keep going until we get to the ah, that's it. Because we'll say, okay, that's a placeholder. That's not good enough yet. Just today, I'm writing a screenplay for a film of my own. And the thing is that I've been playing around with a couple lines between a couple characters over and over. And then it just happens that I was able to get it down to about maybe 8 words and with a rhythm. And then I went, that's it. And you don't say the thing is ready to go until it is ready, which is basically our central thesis.
And you can protect your film by learning what are the darkest secrets of film directing, how successful film directors overcome hidden traps. That's the book, available in print, ebook, and audiobook form. Get your copy today.
So great writing often has to do with the dialogue, often has to do with the structure because of classic things like the stakes have to be raised. A lot of people are complaining about films that sag in the middle because the stakes don't get where it should be like this. Oh, I hope that doesn't happen. Oh, it's worse. And oh, I hope that doesn't happen. Oh, that's even worse. And so the thing is that the tension just keeps rising, rising tension. And also at the same time, we have a character who usually has to learn something, and as they learn something, we get this vicarious experience of we learn something. So the character has a character arc, and the audience has a character arc, and we're delighted because we get to participate. We are in a way the character, and we get to grow and get surprised and delighted, and we get to strive and fail and then strive again and then succeed, those kind of things. I read a number of books wherein about 20 pages before the end it's awful, and then at the end it's a triumph, and the triumph feels so much better, so much sweeter because you went through the awful. And so structure is very, very valuable. And
Yeah,
in
I
this,
think when you're talking structure and kind of raising the stakes,
yes.
I recently rewatched the movie Nick of Time
Oh,
with Johnny
Johnny
Depp
Depp.
and I believe Christopher Walken.
Hmm.
It was such a great script.
Ah,
That movie would get made at any time in any era
excellent.
because it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Hmm.
And like you said, every few minutes the stakes are going up,
You're right.
and it keeps you in suspense.
There are some details about the latest Captain America film that you were just about to tell me before we did a recording today. So tell me about what's going on with Captain America, Brave New Mess, Brave New World. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, apparently it had a little bit of a disappointing
Hmm.
opening weekend. And I think it harkens back to what we talked about with Jurassic World. You got to have some dinosaurs in the dinosaur movie.
Okay.
And you have a Captain America movie without Steve Rogers.
Ah,
Well, it's a bit of a problem.
okay.
You know, I honestly, I think the movie could have done better
Hmm.
if it was called The Falcon versus the Red Hulk.
Oh, okay.
And, just make a Falcon movie. I think that would have been a bigger hit with the fans of the comics.
Oh,
They
okay.
grew up buying Falcon comic books,
Hmm.
and it would have felt a little less forced. Also, I think, when Anthony Mackie first appeared in Captain America 2,
Hmm.
he had so much screen presence.
Right.
And I was like, wow, like this actor, this guy's going to be a movie star.
Right.
And, and he's been in a few things since,
Hmm.
but I feel like you try to piggyback him onto Captain America's popularity
Mm.
and the Falcon. I think audiences are sophisticated enough.
Hmm.
They see what you're trying to do,
Gotcha.
and they don't like it.
Hmm.
And again, I think just a Falcon movie could have had a bigger weekend. And also, if you make it the Falcon, you have to have a good story
Yes.
because you're not relying on fandom or nostalgia for another character
Hmm.
spilling over onto someone else. But I mean, Sam Wilson is a great character and he's his own character in the comics.
Hmm.
And, he's good enough to have made a great movie out of.
Right.
But now you've spoiled both characters.
Wow.
Whereas the Falcon could have been its own franchise.
Hmm.
You could have had Falcon 2 and Falcon 3.
Gotcha.
Now the Falcon is done and Captain America is done. The Falcon has 40 years of comic books about him,
Right.
and there's a lot of great stories in there that you could have borrowed from.
Hmm.
But, they want to do their own hip new Hollywood version of it.
Okay.
And sometimes that's not the best idea. One franchise I'm a little worried about right now is the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Hmm.
And they've been announcing the casting for that.
Hmm.
It looks terrific. The director is Travis Knight,
Hmm.
who also directed Bumblebee. It ties in our Earth with their Earth, and that's what concerns me.
Gotcha.
And I know a lot of the plot is under wraps and the details of the script are under wraps, so I don't know how much of it is rumor or conjecture.
Right.
But that does, it makes me worried that they're gonna blow it
Oh, gotcha.
because as a kid who grew up with Masters of the Universe, and that was probably my number one toy
Ah,
that I had the most of and wanted the most.
sure.
And watching those cartoons was, escapism treasure for me.
Yes.
I have a love of the franchise,
Right.
and it's kind of like they have the keys to the next Star Wars or the
Right.
next Lord of the Rings,
Yes.
and they're like, well, let's tie it to our Earth and our time, and
Mm.
that just seems like such a misstep.
Got it.
That, it's like, well, let's tell the Lord of the Rings story. Well, it doesn't make sense. Who are these hobbits? And maybe we'll start with the kid in New York who
Right.
who finds a hidden door
Hmm.
and goes into the Shire.
Right.
And you can imagine
Mhm.
the Lord of the Rings fans would not be super excited about that idea if they heard that was, the latest iteration,
Gotcha.
or you're going to make a new Star Wars. And well, how does this happen? Well, we're going to start on Earth with an astronaut who goes through a wormhole
Mm.
and ends up on the Wookiee planet. Well, you're ruining the story, you're
Right.
ruining the escapism. Another key part of great writing is world
Mhm.
building.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit worried about Masters of the Universe. Again, going back to doing the research,
Hmm.
the worst part about it is there was the He-Man show from 2002
Hmm.
that started with a three-part episode. So you have a 90-minute story already
Right.
that was clearly written by huge fans
There it is.
of the 80s version.
Mm-hmm.
And they did all of the world building, all of the character arcs, all of the story. And if you're interested in hearing more about that, let us know below, and maybe
Okay.
we can do another episode about the 2002 He-Man and why it would have been the perfect translation for a movie. Reading and doing the research for me is the big thing that they have to learn.
Got it. They've got to learn to deliver what the audience wants. One of the greatest lines about screenwriting came from William Goldman, who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He said, give the audience what they want, but not in the way they expect. And so that pulls it all together. We want to thank you for being with us. We are growing, and I always have the team members saying, show the merch, Creator's Edge Studio, the t-shirt or the mug or whatever you like. And we are so glad that you to see you with us. And please do comment and like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.